Major weather pattern change is expected to commence across the United States over the next few days. This will bring cooler temperatures, lower humidity, additional storm chances, and we're going to look at the tropical update at the end of the video. So if you like straightforward, accurate, and reliable weather coverage across the United States, southern Canada, and the tropics, make sure to subscribe to my channel. We do daily weather forecast breakdowns right here on the channel. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, and share it with a friend, family member, and on social media. I definitely appreciate it. Let's look here at the past 30 days here of July, and it was a warm one across the eastern United States from the northeast down here into the Ohio Valley, mid-Atlantic, and southeast, even over into parts of the upper Midwest. We have seen temperature anomalies averaging around 5 to 10 degrees above average here for the month of July. Down into Texas, though, we've had a lot of rain events, and that has suppressed our temperatures for the majority of the month, where we're leaning around 5 to 10 degrees below average down there in Texas Hill Country. And then back over here into California compared to normal. Now, talking about precipitation for the 30 days so far of July, it's been a very wet summer so far across portions of the United States, especially the central United States. Up here into the Midwest, you can see lots of deep greens and some blues. That's above to well above normal precipitation for the month of July. And then down here in central Texas, Texas Hill Country, that is where we have that devastating flooding happen earlier on this month. And then over into the mid-Atlantic, and especially for Virginia, up into Maryland and northern North Carolina, seeing a lot of heavy rainfall, and even some sparse rainfall up here into parts of the northern Rockies, Montana, Wyoming, and the Dakotas. The drier spots have been parts of the southeast, the northeast at times, and of course the desert southwest. Now, looking ahead at the forecast over the next few days, this afternoon for your Wednesday, July 30th, there are isolated threats of severe weather across the United States. We have one over here into the high plains and Rockies, another one from the Midwest stretching into the western Ohio Valley, and then across the Northeast and parts of the Mid-Atlantic, including the I-95 corridor. In dark green, that's where isolated severe thunderstorms will be possible. Mainly looking at a damaging wind and hail risk. The tornado threat here over the next few days is going to be very low. Going into tomorrow, which ends the month of July on Thursday, July 31st, isolated severe weather from areas near Denver, Colorado, up there towards Cheyenne, Wyoming, and then around the Washington, D.C. area, stretching into Dover, Philadelphia, and even into Trenton, New Jersey. Damaging winds, large hail will be the primary threat here. Tornadoes will be very unlikely. And then once we get to Friday, August 1st, we don't have any severe weather expected, which is some great news. Now, let's look at the central United States over the next few days. We have some thunderstorms and some rainfall moving across the Midwest, affecting Milwaukee, Chicago, Peoria, and Quincy, Illinois at this point. This will continue as we go into the afternoon at times, some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Then we're going to also see some storms popping up across the Rockies and High Plains. These could pose risks as well for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Again, the tornado threat is quite low. And storms that move over the same areas over here into Illinois, Indiana, and southern portions of Michigan could have a flash flooding risk with it, probably a more of an isolated threat, but definitely keeping an eye on that, especially if you get more rounds of heavy downpours going again over the same areas throughout the night and into Thursday morning. Thursday morning, storm and front moves further to the south, and that means by Thursday afternoon, we're going to see the storm threat again from the plains, especially the high plains down here into the southern plains and Dixie Alley. It's going to be more of a scattered risk here as we go into Thursday evening. And then finally into Friday, a lot of those storms are again pushing further south with the front down near the Gulf Coast. Rainfall amounts could be plentiful here from eastern Iowa into north central Illinois, southern Wisconsin, and northern Indiana areas near Chicago, Rockford, the Davenport Quad Cities, Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, South Bend, Gary, and Fort Wayne, Indiana, and then up into Grand Rapids, Michigan. We could be seeing rainfall amounts of 1 to 3 additional inches as we go between now and Saturday at 7 a.m. on August 2nd. More sporadic rainfall of a ½ inch to an inch possible across the Rockies, and then down here into the southern plains. Dixie Alley is going to be more sporadic as we have scattered storm development, so not everybody will see the 1-inch rainfall totals, but some will. And then in the eastern U.S., we got some storms here as we go into the afternoon, particularly across the southeast. So if you're in the Carolinas, Georgia, into portions of the deep south and Florida, we could be seeing some scattered storm development this afternoon and evening. And then as the storm has come a little bit further to the south with the front tomorrow. Again, we're going to see more heavy rainfall and some severe weather potentially across the I-95 corridor as we go into Thursday afternoon, mainly looking at a damaging wind risk, but the flooding risk will increase across portions of the Mid-Atlantic and I-95 corridors. A lot of this rainfall is going to be moving slowly, and it's going to be moving over the same areas with some heavy downpours. So that will be a concern going into Thursday. And then Friday, a lot of this activity moves off of the coast. Heaviest rains will be across northwest Ohio, northern Indiana, like we talked about, and into southern portions of lower Michigan. Toledo also included in there, and Cleveland. And then over here into the northeast, we're talking bigger metropolitan areas: Boston, Providence, Hartford, New York City, Trenton, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and Dover. And then down into the Carolinas, seeing some heavier rainfall as well. Norfolk, Raleigh, Wilmington, Columbia, Myrtle Beach, and Charleston. Could be seeing 2 to 4 inches of rainfall through Saturday morning there as well. Going into the western U.S. we go, and you can see some storms again across portions of the Rockies. Also some storms in the Pacific Northwest as well. Once we lose the daytime heating, we'll lose the coverage and intensity of those storms, and then we'll do it all over again there on Thursday, and then we'll do it all over again there on Friday. So just daily chances of showers and storms out here, and it will add up. Oregon, up there into northern Idaho, and into western Montana, pocket of up to an inch of rain there. And then an inch plus of rain across portions of Wyoming, into eastern Colorado, and into central and eastern portions of New Mexico, and into the Texas Panhandle as we go through 7 a.m. on Saturday, August 2nd. Let's look at our temperatures. So as the cold front sags southward, we're going to see some cooler temperatures and relief, quite frankly, from the heat. Lower humidity promised as well. 70s across the upper Midwest here this afternoon, but still stifling heat across the deep south into the southeast with mid-90s and low 100s. Heat indexes in Florida today, by the way, could push 125 in some areas. St. Pete in Florida hit 132 Fahrenheit with a heat index yesterday. And as we go into tomorrow on Thursday, you can see mid-70s across portions of the north central U.S. extending over into the northeast. 90s, triple digits again from Texas eastward toward the southeast. Friday comes along and we start to see those cooler temperatures really push south. We get rid of the triple digit heat unless you're in South Texas or the desert Southwest. And then as we go into the weekend, we start to see some heat coming back. But look at the southeast, the Carolinas and Georgia cooling off into the upper 70s and low 80s there for the weekend, especially for Sunday, August 3rd. Overnight lows also are going to follow suit and start to cool off, so crack open those windows if you are in the northern U.S. because we're going to see lows the next couple of nights into the 50s, even upper 40s in some areas, especially if you reside in the Arrowhead of Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, or the UP of Michigan. And then as we go into the weekend, those overnight lows moderate a little bit, but even low 60s with low humidity feels very nice. So I encourage you to crack open those windows the next several nights up there. Now, looking at the long-range forecast here going into next week, this is Monday, August 4th through Friday, August 8th. Ridge of high pressure will be centered there across the portions of Arizona, New Mexico, and West Texas, and that's the very area that will see the extreme heat as we go into next week, although it will start to warm up a bit into the Central Plains and the upper Midwest there as well. And here's our favorable storm track as we go into especially late next week. We have that northwest flow, that ring of fire pattern coming right back across the upper Midwest. And then down here through the Ohio Valley, that could promise some thunderstorm clusters, and a few of those could produce severe weather with damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes, and some flooding risk. Underneath of the ridge, it's going to be a lot of sunshine, sunsplash skies, very dry conditions here. You get a lot of sinking air with that. And let's look here at the tropical weather update. In the Atlantic, the National Hurricane Center, Miami, Florida, is not expecting any tropical cyclone activity over the next 7 days, and that does include the Caribbean and the Gulf. And we look at that, the suppression is because of the Saharan dust coming off of Africa, and Saharan dust is very dry air, and that is going to continue to suppress the hurricane season out here. There will be some time in between the dry plumes that we could see a system sneak in at times in early August, but I think more so than not, we are going to have attempts at systems that will be failure mode. We're not going to see anything really robust. Now, with that said, over here in the eastern U.S., just off the Carolina coast, we could be seeing something develop here in the northwestern Atlantic, and that has to do with our cold front dropping south and east. And as it does, a low pressure system will ride along that front and kind of get caught up here right along the coast of North Carolina, and that could bring some heavier rains to the Carolina coast as we go into early August on a daily basis. So that will be something something to watch for a flash flooding risk in the long range, especially near the coast. So we're looking at Norfolk, Wilmington, Myrtle Beach, down here to Charleston, even down into Savannah, Georgia, Jacksonville, and Jacksonville Beach, getting a very realistic shot at getting 6 inches worth of rain getting into the first week there of August. And this is a national blend of models, so this is an average. It could be much higher than this, even into double-digit rainfall totals. So review your flash flood safety plans if you live along the coast of the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida, because they may need to be activated as we go into early August. Now, looking here at the East Pacific, a very robust hurricane season it has been so far. We have Hurricane Iona, which was a Cat 3-4 system just a day or so ago, still a Category 2 hurricane. We got Tropical Storm Kelly. We got another system potentially developing right on the heels of that again. And then we got 2 more systems in the East Pacific. So it's been very, very active in the Central and East Pacific basins. And there's no reason to believe that won't continue. We can continue to see these systems moving further from the East Pacific basin westward into the Central Pacific basin over the next few days into the first week there of August, including a close call a couple times to the Hawaiian Islands. I know we had a tsunami warning yesterday. We just can't get a break, right? So we have more systems. We got Hurricane Iona going further to the south, Tropical Storm Kelly, eventually Tropical Depression Kelly further to the south as well. We have to watch, though, as we go into early and middle portion of next week. One of these systems out there in the East Pacific, if it does develop, may take a run at the Hawaiian Islands and actually get closer than Iona and Kelly is right now. So that actually could bring more direct impacts as far as rip current risks and rough surf goes for the Hawaiian Islands. So that's something to watch as we get into around the 5th, 6th, and 7th there of August. But again, no need to panic. Nothing robust right now for the Hawaiian Islands. That is for sure. Well, thank you all for watching the weather forecast for you today. That's all the weather I got. So subscribe to the channel if you like straightforward, accurate, and reliable weather coverage. We cover the U.S., the southern Canadian prairies, and the tropics here on the channel daily. Like the video, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it throughout. Share with a friend, family member, and on social media. And of course, if you have any comments, questions, and concerns, jot that down in the comment section down below the video. I'll answer all questions that you have down there. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the support, and have a wonderful and safe rest of your Wednesday out there.